Hi, it's Rory from counsellingtutor.com, and today at Counselling Towers I'm having a celebratory cup of tea because the channel's hit 1 million views today. Just incredible. I never dreamed when I made my first video presentation on the 11th of April 2011 that I'd have so many hits and the channel would take me into such a different direction in terms of my teaching and informing counselling education in general. I'm incredibly humbled by the amount of people who've supported what I'm doing here and have supported the Counselling Tutor projects in general. It's just incredible. So I thought, just to take us back to the very first video that I made, I'm going to pop it on in a second. It's a presentation on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It was made on a very slow computer with very basic equipment, and it's a bit hissy, and I think I might have felt just a little bit self-conscious. Never narrated a video, and I want to take the opportunity of thanking a man called Andrew Kilby, who may or may not be watching this. He was a fellow tutor of mine at the college at the time who encouraged me to take my interest in producing videos and put it on YouTube. So without further ado, let's go to that very first video, a presentation on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And me, well, I'm going to have another cup of tea. And as always, thank you for watching.
Hello and welcome. If you're viewing this screencast on the VLE or are floated by on YouTube, this is an introduction to Abraham Maslow, and my name is Rory Lees-Oakes. So today we're going to look at an idea of Maslow's called the triangle of self-actualisation. Now you can see that in front of you. Maslow came up with this idea in the 1950s. Mainly as a result of studying human beings, but also he had a background studying mammals, apes and monkeys and that type of thing. But he's well known for this idea of, if you like, human progression. So basically, Maslow's ideas come from the notion that we strive to be the best we can. That it's built in us to try and be the best possible people. And how he did this, how he came up with his idea, was he looked at what people basically needed. And the basics of life are breathing, food, water, sex, sleep, homeostasis, which we'll come to, and excretion. Excretion is just a name for going to the toilet. Homeostasis, I'm just going to show you on this next slide. This is a graphic example of homeostasis. So we feel thirsty, then we find a drink, then we have a drink, and our thirst is quenched. And homeostasis is this notion that we make a completion of things in our lives. Feeling thirsty, find a drink, drink, thirst quenched. And there's lots of other times in our lives where we have to make a completion. So that's what Maslow was referring to. Homeostasis. It's probably better known if you're studying a science qualification and you find it comes up in plants, plant growth and that type of thing. But it's a series of growing and completing one stage before you can move on to another. After the physiological needs, we move on to safety needs. But let me ask you a question. Would you exchange breathing for water? What do you need most? Is it breathing or is it water? And most people would say breathing, and they'd be right. And the reason that Maslow constructs this triangle was to show us that there's a linear path, that we have to start off with the very basics in life and then move along. So if I asked my students, would you exchange water for breathing, they would say no, because without breathing you couldn't really take the water in. So there's a linear line. It starts off with the very basic needs of breathing, then we have water, then we have food, and so we go on. Once these are in place, then we can move to safety needs, security of body, of employment, of resources, morality, family or health or property. It's basically living in shelter, keeping warm, keeping safe, being, feeling safe. And I guess if we went back a few thousand years, that would be about keeping away from wild animals killing us. But nowadays it's about making sure that we're safe in our houses in the evening. And also security of employment, health, security of body, of resources, the ability to be able to eat and drink. Once these are in place, then we can move on to the next level, which is love and belonging. But before I do that, let's just have a look at this. You need this in place before you can have anything else. This is the base of the pyramid. It's the foundations of humanity. And without that in place, you can't have any of this. Then we move into friendship, family, sexual intimacy. Being loved, feeling you belong. And then we move on to esteem. Self-esteem, confidence, achievement, respect of others and respect by others. And this is about, what you're doing in your studies at college. You're gaining self-esteem and confidence, hopefully. You're achieving, and you should be respected by others, and you're respected by others. And then we move into self-actualisation. Now, a better way of describing self-actualisation is being everything you can be. Being all you can be. And this includes being moral. It's basically doing the right thing. Being creative. Could be anything. Singing a song, having a dance. Anything that's creative. Even drumming your hands on a desk to make a beat. Being spontaneous. Living in the moment. Trying to solve problems instead of being a victim of problems. A lack of prejudice. Seeing people for who they are, not what they are, or their faith position, or their clothes they wear. Not being prejudiced, but also accepting of the facts. Not living in a dream world where you're in denial of the truth. Now, when Maslow came up with this idea, he believed that only a very few people had actually achieved, and the type of people he studied to get this idea of self-actualization was Einstein, the famous physicist, and President of the United States. He studied the President of the United States, Roosevelt, and a few other people. Gandhi, I think, was one. And he saw these as self-actualized people. There is another way of looking at self-actualization, and again, it's a triangle. I am comfortable in my bodily reactions, if you like. I feel safe, not frightened, I'm not scared. I belong. I'm known. People know me and respect me. And I'm me. So let's have a look at some other ideas, key ideas in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, or the triangle. Well, first of all, he was one of the humanistic founders of the humanistic school, along with Carl Rogers. So everything that's underlined here is really good for assignments or for further exploration in your studies. Why don't you Google humanistic school? Why don't you Google Carl Rogers? Find out a bit more about how Maslow developed his ideas. And the key thing was that he believed in self-actualization. The fact that you can be anything you can be. That you have it in you to be the person you want to become. I'll put some web links on. One is to a website called Business Balls, http://www.businessballs.com/maslow.htm, and the other is webspace.ship.eu, which is another site which talks about Maslow, helps you to do some research on him. http://webspace.ship.edU.cgboer/Maslow.html. Well, I hope this small presentation has been useful to you. My name's Rory Lee Oakes, and thank you for watching.